Our goal is to present royal news in a clear, respectful, and informative way, helping viewers stay informed without unnecessary sensationalism. If you're passionate about the British royal family and want reliable, engaging, and easy to follow coverage, subscribe to Royal News 99 and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest royal developments. Thank you for being part of the Royal News 99 community. Over the past few hours, thousands of posts have exploded online, all making the same unbelievable allegation. According to these viral claims, the Saudi crown prince has supposedly revealed private yacht night photos involving Meghan Markle, leaving Prince Harry completely stunned. If true, this story would send shockwaves through the British royal family and dominate headlines around the world. But here's where things become even more mysterious. Where did these alleged photos come from? Why are people suddenly talking about them now? Is there any credible evidence behind these claims, or is this another internet rumor that has taken on a life of its own? Today, we're going to break down every detail surrounding this viral story. We'll examine how the rumors started, why millions of people are sharing them, what reliable sources have actually reported, and whether there is any factual basis behind the sensational headlines flooding YouTube and social media. As we dig deeper, you'll discover that not everything you read online is exactly what it seems. Sometimes a single misleading headline can spread across the internet within hours, creating confusion before anyone has the chance to verify the facts. We'll also explore why Meghan Markle continues to be one of the most talked about public figures in the world. Nearly every week, a new controversy appears online involving her name. Some stories later prove to be accurate, while many others disappear after fact-checkers reveal that there was little or no evidence supporting them. And what about Prince Harry? How has he responded to past controversies involving online speculation? Could these latest viral claims affect public perception of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, or are they simply another example of how social media can amplify unverified rumors? Throughout this video, we'll carefully separate speculation from confirmed information. Rather than relying on gossip, we'll look at what has actually been reported, what remains unverified, and why it's important to approach sensational stories with caution. You'll also learn how misleading thumbnails, edited images, AI-generated content, and clickbait headlines can quickly convince millions of people that a story is real, even when no trustworthy evidence exists to support it. So before you decide what to believe, stay with us until the very end. Some of the details surrounding this viral claim may surprise you, and the truth could be very different from what the internet wants you to think. If you enjoy videos that investigate viral stories, separate facts from fiction, and uncover what's really happening behind the headlines, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest investigations. Now, let's begin by looking at where this extraordinary claim first appeared, and whether there is any evidence that these alleged yacht photos ever existed. It is now the very first month of the year 2026. For a really long time, Meghan Markle has worked very hard to make sure everyone thinks she is a perfect person. She wanted to look like a kind and wonderful lady who always does the right thing for others. She spent almost 10 years building a special story about her life, trying to make it sound like a movie. But now, that story has run into a giant problem. It is like her story hit a massive iceberg in the middle of the ocean. Think of her life like a big, strong ship sailing across the deep blue water. Suddenly, it hits a giant piece of ice and starts to sink down into the cold sea. This is a very big deal. We are not just talking about the same old stories that people have told 100 times before. We are not talking about those blurry or fuzzy photos that people on the internet have been arguing about for many years. Usually, her team could just say those old pictures were fake, but not this time. This time, things are very different and much more serious for Meghan and Harry. Something huge just happened that changes everything we thought we knew. A big secret has finally come out and everyone is talking about it. This was a secret that was supposed to stay buried in the ground forever so no one would ever find it. It was hidden deep inside the secret computers of the richest and most powerful people in the world. These are people with lots of money who usually keep things very private. In just the last few weeks, the internet has been filled with brand new, clear pictures of Meghan. These are high-quality photos that show everything clearly. They do not just guess what happened, they seem to show the real truth. They show that the Duchess became powerful by using a very secret group of people. This is a group of friends she has tried very hard to make everyone forget about. She wanted this part of her history to be gone forever, but now the whole world is seeing it on their screens. For many years, the big news companies on TV and in the newspapers would not talk about these boat stories. They called them yachting rumors and said they were just made-up lies. They told the public that people were just being mean or jealous of Meghan because she was a princess. But everything changes when the proof comes from the people who were actually there. Some very rich people from the Middle East are finally stopping their silence and telling what they know about her past. The timing of these secrets coming out is very clever and was planned out carefully. Right now, Meghan is trying to change her image again for the new year 2026. She wants to start a new business with Netflix and show off a new lifestyle brand for homes. But just as she is trying to do that, someone is pulling back the curtain. We are seeing real links between her and rich kings from the Gulf states. We are seeing how people helped her meet very powerful men long ago. We are seeing a very rich life that a girl on a regular TV show could never pay for by herself. Back then, Meghan was an actress on a show called Suits, but she was not a superstar yet. Someone out there really wants the whole world to know the true story of how she got to the top. The most important question is not just what we see in the pictures, but who gave these photos to the public. People want to know what other scary secrets they are still hiding in their computers. Let us look closely at exactly what has been shared with the world so far. This is a very important part to understand if you want to know the truth. For the last 5 years, if you looked for news about Meghan's life before she met Prince Harry, you would only find weak stories. You would see blurry pictures of women who looked a little bit like her, but you couldn't be sure. It was very easy for her team of helpers to say those photos were not real or were just normal vacations. But that old excuse does not work anymore for Meghan. The pictures people are seeing right now are as clear as day. We are seeing very sharp photos from private collections that were never meant for us to see. These photos have secret data on them called metadata. This data is like a digital footprint that shows the photos were taken in the summer of 2010 and the summer of 2012. This was long before she was a famous duchess or even a well-known actress. These photos show Meghan in places like Monaco and on the Mediterranean Sea. She is standing on the decks of the biggest and most expensive boats on the planet. These are not photos for regular tourists or people on a cheap vacation. You cannot get these kinds of pictures unless you are invited onto the boat by a very rich person. You have to be part of the secret inner group to be there. We see Meghan in places that show she was around a huge amount of money. In the photos, she was around more money than she was making as an actress back then. But the most shocking thing is the people she is with. She is not just with other actors or her friends. She is with powerful leaders from Saudi Arabia and other rich countries. These are very important men who do not meet regular American actresses by accident. Something special had to happen for her to be in the same room as them on a giant private boat. People on the internet are already putting the pieces of this puzzle together. The story they are finding is like an explosion of truth. It suggests these were not just fun trips or simple parties. It was a well-planned system for people to meet each other to get more power. The fact that these photos even exist is very bad for Meghan's reputation. But the reason they were taken changes everything we thought we knew about how she became a famous person. If you think this is just about going to parties, you are missing the main point. This was a business for Meghan, but her business was not acting in movies or TV shows at that time. It was getting close to powerful people who had lots of money. To understand why these photos are so dangerous for her name, we have to look at the math of her life. We have to look at how much money she really had before she met Prince Harry in London. Let us look at the timeline of her life very carefully. Between the years 2008 and 2011, Meghan was not famous at all. Most people did not know her name or who she was. She was just a girl holding a suitcase on a game show called Deal or No Deal. Later, she had a small job on a TV show called Suits. That show was okay, but it was filmed in Toronto, Canada. In the beginning, it did not pay her enough money to fly on private jets. The photos from 2010 show her living a life that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars every single week. Renting a giant boat in Monaco during a big car race or a film festival is not something you can do with a normal credit card. We are talking about millions of dollars to keep those boats moving and to pay for the fancy food and drinks. If she was not paying for it, and we know she was not rich enough yet, then who was paying for her? The even bigger question is why were they paying for her to be there? In the world of very rich people, nothing is ever free. If you are invited onto a boat like that, you are there for a reason. These leaked photos show that the story she told everyone was not quite true. She told everyone she was a struggling actress who got a lucky break through hard work. But these photos suggest she was getting help with money from someone else whose name she hid. Someone was paying for her travel, her expensive clothes, and her tickets to enter these rich groups. She told a famous lady named Oprah story about working very hard for everything she had. She said she drove an old car with a door that wouldn't open and tried very hard to get acting jobs. But that story falls apart when you look at a photo of her drinking expensive champagne on a billionaire's floating palace in Europe. The math of her life just does not work out when you look at her salary versus her lifestyle. For the first time, the regular public has the proof to show that things do not add up. This is the part of the story that the big TV news people are too scared to talk about, but we need to look at it honestly. The new photos show Meghan around royalty and very rich people from the Middle East. This is a very private and secret world. These are groups of people that like to keep things a secret from the public. You do not just walk into a party hosted by these rich men. You have to be checked first to make sure you belong there. You have to be invited by someone they trust, and usually a special helper has to bring you in. People who were there are now starting to talk even if they do not want to use their real names because they are afraid. They describe a system of networking where beauty and money are traded. In this system, young, pretty, and smart women are introduced to men who have more money than anyone can imagine. It is like a trade-off. The women get to live a very rich life they could never afford on their own. The men get to have charming and beautiful company who know how to act in a fancy way at their parties. The stories suggest that Meghan was not just a one-time guest at these events. They suggest she was there all the time and knew exactly what was happening. She knew the rules of the room and how to act around the super-rich. This links back to the rumors of how she became famous so incredibly fast. How did she go from being a regular actress in Canada to being in a fancy club in London called Soho House? How did she meet the people who finally introduced her to Prince Harry? The photos suggest she did not learn her social skills in a normal acting class. She learned them on those giant boats in the Mediterranean. She learned how to act like a rich person, how to talk their way, and how to make powerful men like her. It was not just luck, it was a skill she practiced for years while she was on those trips. But here is the most important part to remember. This group of rich people usually keep secrets forever. If photos are coming out now, it means they are not protecting Meghan Markle anymore. Someone has decided that the truth needs to come out. We have to talk about how she got there in the first place. You do not go from a TV set in Canada to a giant boat in Europe without a middleman to help you. A middleman is a person who helps two groups of people meet each other. The new leaks are making people talk about men like Marcus Anderson. They are talking about fancy clubs like Soho House. For many years, people have whispered that these clubs were like places for rich people to find new talent. The theory is that Meghan was a favorite in these clubs because she was very good at meeting people. People say she was reliable and could be trusted to keep a big secret. The helpers knew they could put her in a room with a Saudi prince and she would not act silly or cause trouble. She would be charming and fun and she would never tell anyone what happened at the party. That is why she was invited back many times. That is how she got the links that eventually led her to meet the British prince. But the new leaks show that something is broken in those old friendships. These photos probably came from the computer files of some